On August 26, heaven's window began to close. A $500,000 transfer assigned to you was blocked by a jealous neighbor. Archangel Michael knows who it is. Watch this video now to find out. On the sacred date of August 26, a divine shift echoed across the heavens. A celestial window, open for a season of favor, began to close. This was not a normal day. This was not a passing moment in time. No, this was a divine timestamp, a mark upon the calendar of eternity where heaven paused and whispered, "Now." The air changed. The winds shifted. Something opened and something began to close. There are moments when heaven speaks louder than words, when the Spirit moves in a whisper only the obedient can hear. August 26 was such a moment. It was not a headline. It was a spiritual headline. A trumpet in the spirit realm sounded quietly, but to the chosen, it was deafening. On this day, a gate of divine transaction was touched by resistance. The favor that was moving toward you, the breakthrough, the provision, the financial oil, was interrupted by interference. A transfer heavenly in origin assigned to you by name was halted. Not because heaven changed its mind, not because you were forgotten, but because a shadow crept in, clothed in envy. A person, a voice, a presence, near enough to smile at you, but bitter enough to speak against you. Their jealousy rose like a vapor, and that vapor, laced with words and whispers, became a fog over what was yours. But heaven did not remain silent. Archangel Michael, the divine warrior, the captain of heaven's hosts, saw it all. And he is not only watching, he is speaking. He has been assigned to unveil what was done, and more importantly, what must now be undone. For heaven will not be mocked. The blessing was written. The amount was recorded. The name was yours. But this message is not for everyone. Only those whose spirit is alert will recognize the call. Only those with eyes to see and ears to hear will feel the tug in their soul. If your heart is pounding, if your mind is stirred, if your tears have fallen for unknown reasons lately, it is you. You are marked. You are the one. But revelation requires stillness. This cannot be accessed by noise, by pry, by haste. It must be received in silence, in obedience, in trust. Sit still. Breathe deep. Let your spirit lean in. For what has been hidden is about to be revealed. Type "I receive" in the comments if this word is confirming what you already sensed. Blessing code 1226 is now unlocking your portion. From the throne of justice and the vaults of divine memory, Archangel Michael now speaks, not with thunder, but with holy urgency. Hear me, child of the Most High, for your name has come before heaven. Not as a whisper, but as a cry. And heaven does not ignore the cry of the chosen. From August 26, the clock began ticking. Whether you knew it or not, whether you felt it or not, a countdown was released in the realm of spirit. 7 days of mercy were granted. 7 days for alignment, for listening, for spiritual sensitivity. But most did not notice. Most were distracted. Most were entertained by the noise of the world. But not you. You stumbled on this message not by accident, but by divine interruption. This is not coincidence. This is not just another word. This is a prophetic disruption, a heaven-sent collision with your timeline. The reason your spirit feels stirred right now is because your assignment has been interrupted, and heaven is calling you back to focus. You must hear this clearly. There is a $500,000 transfer, not figurative, not imaginary, but real, documented, and divinely encoded with your name. It was assigned. It was released. It was yours. But it was blocked. Why? Because you are not common. Because your elevation was going to expose too many lies. Because your rising would cause others to lose the illusion of control they had over you. They could not stop your destiny, but they could attempt to delay it. So they did. Not with weapons made of iron, but with weapons made of words and coated in jealousy. But heaven has recorded every whisper. Archangel Michael, the warring prince of God's host, the guardian of divine timing, the defender of destiny, has entered the matter. You must understand, he only descends into warfare when the battle is no longer yours to fight. And he has drawn his sword. You need not strive. You need not fight back in the flesh. The battle has entered the spiritual court, and Michael is your witness. Let this word burn through the fog. You are not crazy. You are not overthinking. And no, this is not just bad luck. This was a coordinated attack to freeze a financial flow that was assigned to lift your life. But the resistance to your breakthrough is confirmation of your anointing. The delay is not the denial. It is the signal that the enemy fears what's coming next. Let this settle in your bones. Not all will understand this, but the ones who are chosen will feel the weight of it. Your heart will confirm it. Your soul will ache for justice. Your prayers have been met with silence, but that silence was not abandonment. That silence was heaven preparing the intervention. And now Michael has spoken. This is your warning. This is your invitation. This is your moment to sit still and listen. To remember who you are. To remember what was promised. You must walk carefully in these next hours. You must guard your words. Guard your heart. Guard your silence. Because heaven is watching and your name is on the scroll. The gates of resistance are trembling. The hands that interfered are being exposed. But you must remain positioned. This isn't just about money. It's about inheritance. It's about position. It's about divine authority. You were never meant to be ordinary. You were never called to blend in. That's why this word found you. That's why your spirit is trembling even now. Type "I am called" in the comments if you know this is speaking to you. Blessing code 888 is now igniting divine protection over your name. They smiled in your face, but inwardly they seethed. They asked questions they had no right to ask. They watched your steps, studied your movement, mirrored your language, and yet inwardly they carried a venom cloaked in politeness. Their voice sounded supportive, but their hearts sang a different song, a song of envy, of resentment, of spiritual sabotage. This is the mystery behind your delay. What you thought was a natural interruption was, in fact, a spiritual ambush. Heaven released the $500,000. It was in motion. The angels of allocation had begun their assignment. The resources were lined up. The hearts were stirred to favor you. The doors were positioned to open wide. The transaction had already left heaven's hands. But then it hit resistance. The moment you started walking in silent confidence, someone nearby noticed. Not spiritually, but in the flesh. A neighbor, a friend, a family member, someone who had access to your presence but did not honor your purpose. They watched. They studied. They sensed your glow increasing. And rather than celebrate what God was doing in your life, they plotted with whispers and seeded sabotage through gossip and spiritual manipulation. You felt it, didn't you? That sudden heaviness, a sharp, invisible turn in the atmosphere when you shared your dreams and suddenly everything slowed down. You couldn't explain it. You didn't want to accuse. But in your spirit, you knew. Something shifted the moment they got close. You asked, how did they know? How did they find out? Why now? Why just days before the breakthrough? Because they were watching. Not just casually, but spiritually. Their jealousy had opened doors in the unseen realm. The evil eye was activated, and what was supposed to flow freely to you became tangled in the resistance of bitterness and monitoring spirits. But let me be clear, they cannot cancel what heaven has written. They can only delay. And even that delay comes with a divine consequence. This is not just suspicion, this is revelation. Archangel Michael has revealed a jealous neighbor, someone geographically or emotionally close to you, who inserted themselves into your atmosphere and created a blockage. Their words, laced with false concern, formed a barrier. Their tone was gentle, but their heart was violent. They said, "I'm just checking in." But their spirit was checking to see how close you were to fulfillment. They smiled and said, "I'm so happy for you." But inwardly, they groaned, "Why not me?" They acted as though they supported you, but they reported you in the spirit to dark altars of envy. The same people who say amen out loud have cursed you quietly. Let that revelation break the illusion. This is a spiritual betrayal, and it is not light. But it is also not final. Heaven does not reveal to humiliate. Heaven reveals to vindicate. God is exposing this now not to shake you, but to position you. You must see clearly. You must stop second-guessing the signals your spirit keeps sensing. You were right. You were discerning correctly. They were not for you. They only followed you for what they could witness, not for what they could bless. But here is the good news. The blockage is now under judgment. The delay is under reversal. The betrayal has become evidence, and heaven will use it to restore more than you lost. Your tears have been recorded. Your frustration has not been in vain. You are not crazy. You are not weak. You are not alone. You are chosen. Type "I am chosen" in the comments if this truth has opened your eyes. Blessing Code 1444 is now uncovering hidden agendas around your destiny. And if this message has pierced your spirit, if the revelations you've received today confirmed what you felt in your soul, then take this moment to sow into the restoration of others. This is bigger than one word. This is a rescue mission for souls. Every time you give through Super Thanks, membership, or our PayPal link in the description, you help us deliver spiritual warfare strategies and divine clarity to those walking in silent battles. Your support helps us shine light into hidden valleys, break the grip of delay, and open the floodgates of revelation. The Bible says He gives seed to the sower and bread for food, and will enlarge the harvest of your righteousness. 2 Corinthians 9:10, and that promise is alive over your giving today. I heard the Lord say, "Those who honor my word will see my win." If you've received this word, take action. Don't delay. Let your giving become prophetic confirmation of what heaven has already spoken. And to every giver, your seed is seen. Your obedience is oil. Your support carries the weight of deliverance. Step forward now. Don't just watch, respond. Let us now call this what it is. Not coincidence, not misfortune, not a bad financial decision or a forgotten opportunity. No, this was spiritual warfare in its most deceptive form. A quiet, slow-burning attack that disguised itself through familiarity. And this warfare had a name: envy. The moment heaven assigned the $500,000 to your name, the spiritual world reacted. Light moved, and darkness noticed. Hell cannot see the full scroll of your life, but it can smell elevation. It can sense movement. It can detect when the heavens tilt in your direction. That's when the attacks come, not because you're cursed, but because you're called. You weren't delayed because you're weak. You weren't blocked because you're failing. You were targeted because you are marked for movement. The jealousy that rose against you didn't come from random strangers. It came from those who felt close enough to compete, to compare, and to condemn you in the silence of their own hearts. They watched God prepare your table, but rather than worship, they whispered. They questioned, why them? Why now? And in that questioning, a spirit of sabotage was activated. But listen closely. This is not merely interpersonal conflict. This is not just a matter of bad energy or negative vibes. This is a collision between your destiny and the forces that hate divine order. You see, when God releases a financial blessing like this, when a six-figure breakthrough is spiritually scheduled, it's not just about money. It's about authority, positioning, and influence. Money from heaven always comes with an assignment, and that assignment is what Satan fears. This is why your resistance has been so specific. The enemy didn't block you at random. He used envy as a legal foothold in the realm of the spirit. Because jealousy, when left unchecked, becomes a spiritual weapon. It releases curses, word assignments, energy distortions, all targeted to create confusion, delay, and spiritual paralysis. But now that heaven has revealed this attack, you are no longer ignorant. You are no longer at the mercy of manipulation. You are chosen. That is why the attack came. Had you not been chosen, there would have been nothing to block. Had your name not been written on the release scroll, there would be no need for interference. The fact that you have felt the heat of sabotage proves the fire of your calling. God only allows this level of warfare when He intends to raise a person into higher territory. That's what this is, a territorial shift, and every shift is contested. But here is where divine justice begins to unfold. Nothing has escaped heaven's record. Not one word. Not one silent attack. Not one false smile. Archangel Michael has recorded it all. The scroll is open. The judgment is underway. This was not only spiritual warfare, it was a divine test. Heaven allowed the delay to measure your faith, your obedience, your posture. How did you respond when it didn't happen in your timing? Did you still believe when the transfer didn't show up? Did you keep your hands clean, your mouth shut, your heart open? Because heaven sees more than outcomes. Heaven sees character. And you, beloved, have passed the test. You didn't retaliate. You didn't fight in the flesh. You endured. You waited. You discerned. You prayed through the confusion. Now, the blockage must break. The same spirit of jealousy that tried to limit you is now being chained. The same words that were spoken to curse you are boomeranging back. The weapon formed, yes, but it did not prosper. The resistance you felt was real, but now the reversal is released. Hold your position. Don't lower your vibration to match their bitterness. Don't respond with your mouth. Heaven already responded with its sword. Type "I am untouchable" in the comments if this word confirms what you have endured. Blessing code 1010 is now shielding your elevation. The Spirit of the Lord would say, the warfare is not over. It is entering its final hour. What was once a whisper has now grown teeth. What was once a delay has now become desperation in the enemy's camp. The interference that blocked your $500,000 blessing was not the end. It was the beginning of a last-minute scheme designed to escalate within the next 72 hours. Yes, within the next 3 days, things will appear to shift again. Not because heaven is changing its mind, but because hell is intensifying its strategy. The jealous neighbor, spiritually or literally, is now being provoked by a darker force. What was once envy has become obsession. What was once silent resistance may now become visible opposition. Be warned. Documents may be shifted. Conversations may be twisted. Old lies may resurface with new voices. This is the hour when the deceiver tries to create confusion, hoping you will disqualify yourself through panic or pride. The enemy can no longer stop the transfer, but it can try to convince you that you're unworthy to receive it. It will attack your identity. It will agitate your emotions. It will use familiar voices to try to stir an unfamiliar reaction in you. Do not take the bait. The tension you feel is real, but it is not danger. It is divine pressure. It is the intensity that comes before release. In the spirit realm, the dam is cracking. The flow that was held back is trembling, at the edge of breakthrough. The enemy knows he cannot hold it forever, so he lashes out in one final attempt to discredit, distract, and derail you. But child of the Most High, hear this clearly. You are closer than you think. You are closer to the release than your eyes can see. You are closer to the reversal than your emotions can feel. Heaven has not forgotten. Heaven has not changed direction. Heaven has simply been waiting for the fullness of this exposure, because it had to be revealed. God could not release the $500,000 while contamination was still near your name. He could not elevate you with polluted connections still speaking your name in secret rooms. He allowed the enemy's hand to show itself, so that when he blesses you, no one else can claim the credit. This is not just about abundance. This is about clarity. God is not just delivering resources, He's delivering justice. So beware in the coming hours. You may hear rumors. You may receive strange messages. You may feel an odd heaviness in the atmosphere. That is not your spirit failing. That is your spirit discerning. It is your soul responding to the shifting in the unseen realm. Because even now, the angels are gathering evidence. Even now, Archangel Michael is binding lying spirits. Even now, the transfer is being recalibrated for purity. Do not panic. Do not retaliate. Do not speak before the Spirit gives you utterance. Because in these next 72 hours, God will reveal more than you expected. You will see names, faces, and patterns that were once hidden. You will connect dots that were previously scattered. You will understand why the warfare was so intense, and you will see heaven's strategy in full display. This is the final distraction before divine activation. Stay silent. Stay aligned. Stay covered. And when the winds start to swirl around you, remember, storms only rage before a gate opens. Type "I am ready" in the comments if you're positioned for the next 72 hours. Blessing code 717 is now guarding your name in heaven's ledger. Now is not the time to respond with force, it is the time to respond with faith. Heaven's instruction is clear, concise, and urgent. Be still. Withdraw. Remain silent. These are not signs of weakness. They are the weapons of the wise. When Archangel Michael is assigned to your defense, you don't need to raise your voice. You need only raise your faith. You must understand, the enemy does not know what to do with a silent warrior. Jealousy feeds off your reaction. Saboteurs are empowered by your words. But when you say nothing, when you move in silence, when you pull back into the secret place with the Most High, it disorients the enemy's plan. This is the hour where silence is your covering. Stillness is your strategy. Obedience is your armor. Archangel Michael has already been deployed. The war is in the unseen, not the physical. Your job is not to swing. Your job is to stay positioned. The next move belongs to heaven. The next strike comes from the sword of the Lord. And if you move now, you might step into territory that was not assigned to you. Let heaven finish what it started. Do you remember what God said in Exodus 14:14? The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. That is not just a verse. That is a command for this exact moment. The jealous neighbor who blocked your $500,000 transfer is now under heavenly surveillance. Their schemes are being reversed. Their gossip is becoming their own trap. But if you speak too soon or react in your emotions, you risk placing your fingerprints on what heaven was meant to handle. So breathe. Pull back. Pray. Keep your circle tight. Close your mouth. This is not the hour to explain yourself to people who already misunderstood your anointing. This is not the season to justify what God is about to do. Let the fruit speak. Let the fire reveal. Let the glory announce what your mouth doesn't need to. Because this time, it won't be your explanation that proves you, it will be your elevation. This is a protective silence, a divine hush, a sacred moment. The Spirit says, "Be still and know that I am God." You are not being passive. You are being prepared. The silence is not your punishment. It is your shelter. The stillness is not a stall. It is a spiritual recalibration. While you rest in obedience, angels are moving swiftly to reposition what was blocked and restore what was stolen. Repeat this in your spirit. What is mine cannot be stolen. What is delayed cannot be denied. Every word spoken against you in private is now being exposed in the courts of heaven. Every hand that tried to pull you down is being restrained. But heaven's vengeance flows in silence. The blessing will not shout its arrival. It will appear, undeniable, untouchable, unshakable. And it will come because you obeyed the call to stay silent. Do not take spiritual matters into carnal hands. You were never meant to fight this battle. It belongs to the Lord, and He is mighty in war. Trust the silence. Embrace the stillness. Heaven is still speaking, but only the quiet ones will hear it. The jealous neighbor will watch, but not partake. They will see the table set before you, but they will not be invited to eat. Because heaven is not just restoring the blessing, he's protecting the next one. Type "I will be still" in the comments if you are surrendering to heaven's timing. Blessing code 4411 is now shielding your obedience. You are not who you were when this battle began. The version of you that once trembled in confusion has been refined in fire. The version of you that once needed validation has now discovered the sacred power of silence. The one they tried to block has become unshakable. Let this be known in both heaven and hell. You are no longer the person they thought could be easily stopped. The sabotage, the gossip, the delay, the spiritual interference. It was meant to break you. It was meant to cause a collapse. They weren't just trying to block your money, they were trying to break your momentum. They weren't just trying to delay your blessing, they were trying to distract your identity. But it didn't work. You didn't fold. You didn't retaliate. You didn't lose your mind, though they tried to make you question your own discernment. And in that endurance you have shifted. You have transformed. The resistance was not your end. It was your activation. Heaven has watched you emerge from the ashes of sabotage like fire-refined gold. You are no longer breakable. You are no longer manipulatable. You are no longer impressionable by voices that lack discernment. Your identity is now carved deeper in the presence of God, and your authority has grown sharper in silence. The people who whispered about you do not know what just happened. They don't know that the delay didn't damage you. It built you. They don't know that every night you cried out in prayer, heaven sent reinforcements. They don't know that in the silence, you were being trained. That in the stillness, you were being fortified. While they thought they were delaying your breakthrough, God was preparing your foundation. You are no longer walking into rooms looking for acceptance. You are walking in as one sent. You're no longer second-guessing the vision. You are protecting it with fire. You're no longer seeking signs. You have become the signal. You are no longer hidden because of fear. You are hidden for power. And now, you are rising, not as a victim, but as a vessel. Let this be declared. You are coming forth stronger, sharper, wiser, cleaner. The enemy made a grave mistake. It let you taste spiritual warfare and survive it. And anyone who survives sabotage at this level is no longer just a recipient of breakthrough. They become a carrier of breakthrough. You're not just rising for you. You're rising for your family line, for every silent intercessor watching, for every weary warrior still waiting on their word. They underestimated your endurance. They miscalculated your consecration. They judged the surface and missed the fire burning underneath. But heaven knew. Archangel Michael knew. God knew. And now that you have endured, now that you have resisted, now that you have held your peace, it is your time to rise. You are being lifted, not by popularity or performance, but by purity, by alignment, by divine endurance. And nothing they did was strong enough to undo that process. What the enemy meant for evil, heaven has used as a launching pad. There is no going back to the old version of you. There is no shrinking to fit their comfort. You've seen too much. You've grown too much. You've walked through too much to return to who you were. You are no longer threatened by the jealousy of others, because you have discovered the invincibility of being in alignment. You are not delayed. You are deployed. Type "I have risen" in the comments if you know you are no longer who you used to be. Blessing code 3003 is now anointing your rise. Now hear this clearly. The question is no longer, was the blessing real? The question is, why was it paused? Because the truth is this: the $500,000 transfer was never lost. It was never canceled. It was never revoked. It was only paused. Not due to a flaw in heaven's will, but due to a need for divine alignment. You've cried, "Lord, why the delay?" And heaven answers, "Because I needed to prove that you could handle the weight without compromising your worship." This was not a denial. It was a test of endurance. The blessing was already written. The favor was already scheduled. The name was already etched in heaven's account. But the transaction required proof. Proof of purity. Proof of patience. Proof of trust when the waters were still. The delay was a question from heaven. Will you still believe when nothing around you moves? Because not every delay is punishment. Some are divine invitations to grow your capacity before the release. You were not being tested for failure. You were being tested for promotion. And now, the results are in, and you pass. That jealous neighbor, they weren't just jealous of money. They were jealous of movement, of acceleration, of the way doors open for you without you begging. They saw the favor you carried and tried to speak against it, hoping to interrupt what they couldn't duplicate. But what they didn't know is this: heaven watches jealousy like a courtroom watches false witnesses. Their gossip became your evidence. Their accusation became the file that heaven used to justify your vindication. And now, the scales are tipping in your favor. Not just financially, but spiritually. Heaven is increasing your rank. You are being tested for more than money. You are being tested for position, for stewardship, for divine responsibility. You are not waiting on a deposit. You are being positioned for dominion. Because God is not just handing you cash, He's handing you a mantle. This $500,000 is not just provision, it is confirmation. It is a sign of a greater elevation that will affect your reach, your influence, and the legacy that follows you. You are not just being given money. You are being handed a new seat at the table. A seat the enemy tried to block but failed. A seat that others tried to buy but was reserved for your obedience. You have proven you can be trusted in silence. You have proven you can walk through shadows without cursing the light. You have proven that you do not worship the blessing. You worship the one who gives it. And now, heaven says, release it. The transaction has already been recoded with your current name and spiritual status. The delay has expired. The tests are complete. The trial is over. Now comes the rain. But remember this: what is about to fall is not just for you. You were tested in public. Now you will be rewarded in public. Your victory will lift others. Your testimony will carry oil. Your increase will carry fire. You are being blessed, not just to say I made it, but to prove He is faithful. And so I declare, the heavenly account bearing your name is open. The scroll has been signed. The resources are moving. The silence has passed. Now comes the sound of release. Type "I am aligned" in the comments if this prophetic revelation has awakened your spirit. Blessing code 5550 is now confirming your heavenly deposit. If this prophetic word stirred something in your spirit, if you felt heaven whisper your name in the lines of this message, then I invite you to move with faith-fueled action. This mission is not just to speak. It is to awaken the sleeping, rescue the weary, and ignite the call. Every time you give through Super Thanks, join our YouTube membership, or donate through PayPal, link in the description. You are helping someone else break free from confusion, delay, and spiritual blindness. This is not about fundraising. This is about soul raising. This is the sound of divine partnership. He who refreshes others will himself be refreshed, Proverbs 11:25. And today, your giving becomes a key to unlock someone else's clarity. I felt a shift in the spirit as you read this. If that was you, then sow into what stirred you. The harvest is coming, and heaven remembers the ones who move by revelation. Bless your seed. Activate your faith. And step into the flow. Now is the moment of activation. Now is the hour when the ones who have endured must not merely wait, but declare. Heaven is moving, but heaven is also waiting for your voice to match your revelation, for your declaration to unlock your demonstration. You have been still. You have been silent. You have passed the test. But now, child of destiny, you must speak. You must rise in the power of your agreement. For what heaven has written must be activated on earth through your mouth. Say this out loud, not with fear but with fire. I align. I accept. I rise. Say it again. Let it sink into your bloodstream. Let it echo in your bones. Let the darkness hear it and tremble. Let the heavens record it and respond. You are not just hoping for breakthrough anymore. You are commanding your atmosphere to shift into divine synchronization. Because heaven will not override your will. The angels are waiting for your yes. They are holding the scroll with your name, the funds allocated, the gates marked for opening. But heaven requires a signal from earth. That signal is your faith-filled agreement. You must align. You must accept that you are chosen, even if others rejected you. You must accept that you are anointed, even if they overlooked you. You must accept that what is coming is not too big for you. You are not being blessed by accident. You are being positioned by design. And now you must rise. This is not the season to shrink back. This is not the hour to second-guess yourself. You are not the underdog. You are not the outsider. You are the one that was hidden so you wouldn't be hindered. Now the hiding is over. Now the veil lifts. Now comes the release. But hear me with urgency. Alignment requires courage. Heaven is not asking you to feel ready. Heaven is asking you to move in faith. You must act like the door is already open. You must speak like the transfer has already begun. You must walk like the $500,000 is already under your stewardship, because it is. This is more than just positive confession. This is spiritual legislation. This is your moment to co-sign what heaven has already written. Declare, the block is broken. The blessing is moving. I align with the will of God. Declare, no more fear. No more delay. No more doubt. I rise with fire. I rise with favor. I rise with clarity. This is not hype. This is holy. Your words now carry the weight of your warfare. Your voice carries the evidence of your endurance. And the moment you come into alignment, your name is re-echoed through the heavens. The angels begin to move. The watchers begin to record. The gate that was previously closed begins to swing wide open. Because this is the mystery of the Spirit, your breakthrough is voice-activated. It was always near. It was always ready. But it waited for your agreement. So now speak it. Breathe it. Believe it. Don't just receive the word, become it. Don't just sit and watch this unfold for others. It's your time. It's your hour. The $500,000 transfer is not just a number. It is a marker. It is a prophetic key unlocking the next level of your life. A symbol of your arrival into divine maturity and manifestation. You are not begging for favor. You are walking in it. You are not chasing opportunity. You are attracting it. You are not waiting for permission. Heaven has already said yes. Type "I align" in the comments if your spirit is ready to speak what heaven has written. Blessing code 2992 is now amplifying your declarations. There are things happening right now, behind veils, behind dimensions, behind the reach of human understanding, that are working in your favor. While you were asleep, heaven was awake. While you were crying, angels were collecting your tears. While you were doubting, the spirit realm was recording your faith in silence. Do not be deceived by the stillness and the natural. There is a silent exchange taking place in the spirit realm. It is quiet only because it is sacred. It is hidden only because it is holy. This is not an activity. This is divine negotiation. What was stolen is being returned. With interest. Every blocked dollar. Every moment lost. Every opportunity sabotaged by envy, by word curses, by secret watchers and hidden enemies. Heaven is gathering them back into your hands with multiplied power. But this recovery is not coming with noise. It's not coming with crowds. It's not coming with applause. It is coming like a vault being opened in the middle of the night. You won't even need to knock. You won't even need to beg. Because the transaction is already underway. It began when you chose stillness. It accelerated when you chose obedience. And now, as you stay in alignment, the angels are finalizing the transfer. Let this sink in. Your spirit already knows what your mind is just beginning to comprehend. That heaviness you've been feeling. That strange fatigue. That sudden stillness in your environment. It's not depression, it's spiritual transaction. Your soul has sensed that something is shifting. That's why you've been restless. That's why your emotions have been tender. That's why people have either drawn close suddenly or vanish overnight. Because in this sacred moment of divine exchange, God is reassigning weight. The people who couldn't honor you are being removed. The doors that no longer serve your future are being sealed. The access to your name is being restricted in the spirit realm. You are no longer available for sabotage. You are now hidden in the transaction. And this is what the enemy hates the most. He can no longer track you. He can no longer follow you through envy. You've gone silent. You've stepped into alignment. And now, you become invisible to every demon sent to delay you. There is a release happening when no eyes can see. Documents are being approved in realms beyond Earth. Approvals are being stamped in the courts of heaven. Contracts are being written in the language of destiny. And the transfer, it is in motion. The $500,000 is not just provision, it is a symbol of spiritual restitution. Heaven is saying, because you refuse to curse the delay, I will release double. Because you remain faithful, you're not just being paid, you're being restored. This is not man's idea. This is heaven's justice. Let every voice that tried to define you now be silenced. Let every hand that tried to block you now be bound. The records have been reviewed. The verdict has been released. The transfer is yours. But because it is holy, it is happening in silence. No alarms. No warnings. Just faith pouring out like oil behind the veil. And when it shows up, they'll call it sudden. But you will know it was a slow burn in the spirit realm, waiting for this very hour. You were never forgotten. You were never passed over. You were only hidden, so the release could not be hijacked. Type I claim the exchange in the comments if you feel the shift happening even now. Blessing code 6655 is unlocking the hidden vaults over your life. It is written in the courts of heaven and echoed in the spirit realm. Justice is not delayed, it is divine. The time for exposure has come. The time for reversal is now. Heaven has judged the matter, and the ruling has been released. You are not only restored, you are vindicated. For every plot against your name, for every whispered word that distorted your image, for every lie that moved in silence while you moved in obedience, the Lord says, I have seen it, and now I will repay. This is spiritual justice, and it is not symbolic, it is tangible. This is the hour when the traps set for your downfall become pits for those who dug them. The gossip that was whispered in private is now becoming the megaphone of their own exposure. The energy they spent working against you is now boomeranging back into their own lives, multiplied by the spiritual laws they tried to manipulate. Touch not my anointed, says the Lord, and they touched anyway. They invaded sacred space. They watched with wrong motives. They interfered with a blessing that was never theirs to question. And now the heavenly ledger is being balanced. Sevenfold shall be returned. This is not revenge. This is righteous reversal. Let every viewer understand, heaven's justice is exact. God is not just making it right for you, He is making it known. The same neighbor who tried to block your $500,000 transfer will now have to witness the overflow they could not stop. They will see the breakthrough they tried to curse come with more power than they can handle. They will be forced to watch you rise, not to gloat, but to glorify the God who fights for the righteous. This is not petty vengeance. This is prophetic fulfillment. The Lord did not expose the interference to humiliate them. He exposed it to elevate you. This reversal isn't just about reclaiming what was lost. It's about restoring your name in the realm of power and promise. The enemy's schemes have now become evidence. And heaven is turning that evidence into your elevation. Not only is the $500,000 being released, new opportunities are being birthed for the very delay. You will walk through doors you didn't knock on. You will receive favor from people who never knew your name. Because heaven's reversal is compensatory. You're not just being made whole. You're being made unstoppable. Let this be clear. The blessing they tried to bury is now resurrecting with power. And the divine reversal is not just in finances. It's in relationships, influence, clarity, confidence, and divine covering. You're being restored in public because you were attacked in private. You're being elevated openly because you endured silently. And now, the Lord is vindicating your obedience. What was blocked now flows freely. What was stolen now returns multiplied. What was cursed is now crowned. You are walking into a season where everything stolen from you becomes a platform for what God is about to release through you. This is your justice. This is your turn. This is the moment where heaven makes a public decree. This one is mine, and I will repay. So don't lower your voice. Lift it. Don't shrink back. Step forward. The enemy did everything to silence you, but God is giving you back your sound. And your sound carries victory. Type divine justice is mine in the comments if you feel the weight of this reversal coming upon your life. Blessing note 7744 is now enforcing the return of what was stolen. On August 26, heaven marked a moment. A divine window, once wide open and pouring out strategy, favor, and provision, began to close. Not in punishment, but in prophetic precision. A gate shifted. A countdown started. And in that exact moment, your name was whispered in the courts of heaven. Not because you were forgotten, but because you were remembered. The $500,000 that was assigned to you. It was real. It was recorded. And although it was blocked by the envy of a neighbor, the divine ledger never changed. Your inheritance was paused, not erased. Your name remained etched in the scroll. The enemy may have delayed the flow, but he never gained control. Because what God writes, man cannot undo. You have endured a test that most wouldn't understand. You were quiet when you could have defended yourself. You were obedient when you could have retaliated. You held your peace when others stirred conflict. And for that heaven has passed its verdict. You are sealed. You are protected. You are elevated. You are not just blessed, you are backed by heaven, guarded by angels, watched by Archangel Michael himself, who even now stands with his sword drawn, enforcing what was promised to you. No demon can alter it. No hater can erase it. No scheme can override it. It was delayed, but it is now released. You may not feel different yet, but in the spirit, your name has already shifted dimensions. You were once the one under siege, now you are the one being sent. You were once targeted, now you are transferred. You are rising with clarity, rising with favor, rising with restored authority. Let this be your final declaration. I am seen. I am covered. I am sent. I rise. Let it echo through your atmosphere. Let it challenge every whisper of fear. Let it silence the last words of doubt. You are no longer waiting. You are walking. The window may have started to close on August 26, but God made sure your name passed through before it shut. That means you are in the right timeline. You are in the right posture. And now, you are in the right place to receive what was always yours. It is done. Type I rise now in the comments as this final blessing confirms your season has changed. Blessing code 9090 is sealing your scroll in the heavens. As you rise, as you walk in the divine justice declared over your life, would you also consider helping someone else find their word? Every time you give through super thanks, join as a YouTube member, or sow a seed through our PayPal link in the description, you become a bridge for another soul on the edge of giving up. You turn warfare into worship. You help release divine clarity, healing, and prophetic instruction across the nations. This is not just a video. It is a movement of God's voice in the wilderness. And when you give, you are not donating. You are activating. You are joining heaven's strategy for revival. Give, and it shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. This promise lives and breathes over those who align with this mission. If this word carried weight, let your giving carry impact. Step into prophetic action. Bless others as you've been blessed. Your support is sacred. Your seed is oil, and heaven records it all.